RPG Day 2018, Day 17. Describe the best compliment you've had whilst gaming. Hi, Bat here. And oh, was this a question that had me sort of struggling? I don't want to come across as egotistical. I've been very fortunate to receive a lot of compliments over the years, and some pretty impressive ones as well. So I'm going to quickly add a caveat. I know it's a positive event, but I've also received a few complaints over the years that have stung quite badly, and in a few cases they were really quite accurate, and it's massively helped me change as well. So anyway, back to the positive aspect of this event. Trying to decide which is my favourite compliment, which is the best, has been very difficult, and in part because we've got compliments from strangers, and that can be great. You know, they carry a value to them that's definitely shouldn't be dismissed. But compared to compliments from friends, especially long-time friends that know you really well, in particular regards to your gaming habits and the certain things that you do again and again, even when you are mixing it up, we are still fundamentally ourselves, and there's always a little bit of a bleed. I don't want to get to a debate about that, but we sort of bring a worldview. So receiving compliments from our long-time friends, I think, definitely carries more value. But then typically it depends on your friends. A few of my friends don't really give out compliments, whilst a few others are very complimentary, sort of a lot more empathic and outgoing as well as individuals. There might be a bit of a correlation there. So I kind of separated my answers struggling to work out which are the answer. So I've separated them out into, you've got gaming with strangers. So when you go into a new group and they invite you back and it goes really well and they say things like, oh, you're a great addition to the group, and that's been really, really lovely. Obviously, any time that you're gaming with people and you game again and again, whether you're reffing or playing, that really probably is the core compliment that actually matters. But the extra compliments that can, like the icing on the cake, as you'd say. I've had a long time friend, we were friends back then. He changed and moved on, who didn't really give out compliments. And playing a Vampire Dark Ages game one day, he gave out at the end this sort of weird little speech. I say weird because coming from him, it was like an alien event had taken over, who was possessed. It's like, oh yeah, tonight's game was really good. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, good. And then he paused and then smiled and left. This is a person that didn't really smile very much, and certainly I can't recall of anyone ever complimenting. And the other players stood there all shocked, and then it turned into this 5-minute conversation about, but they never compliment. What's going on? And it even got to the sort of Mickey taking of, are they all right, or is something going on? That was pretty standout. On a professional level, working at KFC Games, I again caveat, I had one person once write into the boss and demand that I be sacked. I think that was mostly unwarranted, and fortunately the boss agreed as well. I also had another person who basically complained that I'd crossed the line in regards to professionalness and refused to play the game any longer. And I sort of had a gut feeling that they were probably right, but I was a bit too defensive at the time. I was trying to be a bit too draconic to change the game. There's reasons for that, but it was very flawed reasoning in hindsight. So I very much regret that. Anyway, positive aspect to this RPG day, so getting to the point. I had a few customers who wrote into the boss and gave out these really glowing reports about how helpful I was and how very roleplay centric as well that I'd made the game. And that included in the big Star Empire game, Beyond Star Empire, which became Phoenix. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is the boss then sort of had a bit of a wry smile saying, God, I can't believe you've got compliments. It turns out I had a few more he hadn't told me about. He says, I've worked here for years and never had any compliments, which, well, that wasn't entirely true. He had a few compliments. He was actually pretty good at his job, and he certainly knows a lot about astrophysics and stuff as well, so his games were good. So that kind of got me thinking about something as well, though. When you've got compliments from people in an awkward situation, awkward's probably not the best way of phrasing it. Good old sleep deprivation. What do I mean? I mean, when you're dealing with a group and, a convention or a festival or something, you can't really just easily walk away from it. You know, you've travelled all this distance, you're playing with these strangers, um, and you can't exactly, in this case, choose who you're playing with. There's a case of getting on with it, and if there's problems, well, then it's a case of dealing with it, and then obviously how you deal with it affects the game. So, given that there's awkward, tricky situations, when at the end of it you've resolved the things out, and a few people come over and say like, "Oh, that was really impressive the way you handled that," and you role play your plot lines, or when you're playing, you know, the fact that your character, the way that you present it, your body language, your voice, the things that you were discussing. Now, those are all really wonderful, and again, a bit embarrassing going on about this, but positive aspects of the event. So I think they probably stand out as the best. And there's two that come to mind. So one was a group of players when I took over, running out some plots at one of the festival LARPs, and this was Lorien Trust, so I don't say the name. Yeah, so I was running out some plot lines at Lorien Trust, and some of the players afterwards were going, "Oh my god, that was just incredible! I can't believe you're doing this. We don't know whether, well, there's all these plots happening. We don't know which ones to murder because there's all these positive plots happening, and some things seem minor, but then are they minor? And we know that with you, you're gonna like keep running with all these plots, and there's going to be lots happening, and we're too pressed for time, we're having to give out to other players, and you know it's really great." Which I really appreciated that, because that was A, my intent, and B, was addressing, I think, one of the key problems, particularly large scale LARPs, is they're very difficult to run. You know, there's the resource issues, logistics, and people tend to end up simplifying them down, and the lowest common denominator is a bunch of skeletons turn up, or let's go crazy, and oh, a lich attacks, you know, that's the cliche. And for the most part it works, but it kind of lacks that nuance and depth, which as a player is what I want, and I reckon that most players do as well, even the players that go to LARP for contact sport. And similarly at a convention, when you challenge people's expectations, for example, I ran a Dungeons and Dragons one shot where everyone was playing fighters. They all had a few magical items, they were level 5, and they all had a potion of healing each as well. And it was based in the Quest fantasy game that I ran at KDC Games, so I knew the setting inside and out since I'd written it. And the players were going, "Well, we can't play this. We've not got you know, wizard or a cleric or a thief in the party, not even a ranger or, you know, a paladin. We can't possibly be a party of 5 fighters." And one of the people in the group as well was a very long time player of Dungeons and Dragons, and it really confused him. And I ended up saying, "Well, you know, please trust that, you know, the game is A, being designed around the ideas that you're all fighters, B, it's kind of a sandbox style as well, so if you do go off and here be dragons, well, okay, you're probably going to die. So, you know, here's the character backgrounds and what you want to tinker, right, let's play." And we did, and afterwards they were all, you know, we've got a group full of happy, smiley players going, "Oh my god, I didn't know Dungeons and Dragons could be like this," and that was really incredible. Now, again, I don't want to be bragging too much that I'm, you know, run D&D like no one else can. In fact, this was years ago. Role-playing's changed a lot since then, and sort of more storytelling, narrative style gaming is become a lot more common, and people view Dungeons and Dragons in all sorts of different ways, never mind the hobby as a whole. But it's that kind of reaction that we're after, where it's not just an individual, but you've got a group of people. And it was in an awkward situation where, well, your alternative was either to not play, or to play with people that you don't really have the social contract that you do with your local friendly groups, you know, your own personal friends. And it puts an extra strain on, and when it all works out, I think that's the best compliment. And to sort of bring it back down to the base level, and it's a comment I've seen quite a few times, so a few different people saying today, and it goes back to something I had a chat at 16 years of age with some new people I met, and it's this cliche that's so true. Your best compliment is when people want to game with you, when people turn up, especially if they're busy, and especially as they get older, families and work get involved. If people are wanting to turn up and they can't make it, that's still a compliment, and to appreciate it for what it is, and, you know, ideally to give other people the same respect. You know, you should want to be in their game, ideally. And, you know, you can make compromises, that's fair enough. And ideally, you do your best that you can to get there. And if things happen, emergencies pipe up, well, that's unfortunate. but at least give them a bit of feedback as well.